Hello everybody, today I'm going to walk you through the Agronomy tab of the QA Farmer mobile application. On my screen you see the four tabs. Agronomy is in the lower left hand corner. Clicking on that displays both a Reports and a Fields tab. This is specific to the fields that you operate on. The Reports tab can be used to view reports from your agronomist, and this includes both scouting reports and recommendations. The Fields tab is used to drill into a particular field and used to edit varieties, plant dates, harvest dates, or to look back at historic records that you've received from your agronomist or inputted yourself. So we'll start by diving into the Reports tab on the left-hand side. In this view, you can see I have all reports, but have the opportunity to filter this to just scouting reports or recommendations by clicking across the top. As I click on a recommendation, you can see the content in this view. I can see the field name, the products, the rates, the totals, and I can mark this as complete. Marking as complete is indicating back to your agronomist that this has indeed been applied or sprayed. In that process, you have the opportunity to select a date of when that happened. I can set a date and a time and save. And I can also add an optional note to send back to my agronomist. In doing so, you get a designation that is done. We'll show the scouting report as well. Clicking into that allows me to view the scouting content that I've received. And this, when you receive that, it can come through as a text notification, push notification, but either way, it leads you to a screen like this where you see the report. Notice that I can zoom in as far as I want to see things like my GDUs, maybe a map of where the scouting occurred, along with the content being displayed down here as well. Open up a report also marks this as viewed for the agronomist and for yourself, so you have a record of what's been opened and accessed. From here, we'll go to the Fields tab. As mentioned, this is the ability to drill into a particular field and view historic records or input data yourself. This view is showing me just the fields from the 2025 growing season. They are currently sorted by their name, but you have the option to choose sort by on the top left and then select by name, crop, or by variety. So changing that to crop, you now see alfalfa at the top, barley, followed by beets, etc. The color on the left-hand side corresponds to the color of the crop set up in the account. I can also search. So if I search for a field name, I can now see the field name, crop, variety, which I select. On this next screen, I have the view of seeing the field, acreage, current conditions at the field. You can see I already have the variety, plant date, harvest date set. If those weren't set, they would say none, and I could tap in and then select my variety. In doing so, that also updates your agronomist with that variety change. And the same thing goes for selecting plant and harvest dates. That is a real-time update to everybody else connected to the software. So I proceed with that, and for example, I'll set a harvest date as well. So it's a selection of a date and proceeding. Down below, you have your events view. The events are intended to see everything that's happened this year. And so I can look back and see my planting dates, my varieties, my recommendations being displayed, which I could then click on and see. In this case, I can tell that this has been completed. Down at the bottom, I see the green date at the time. I can see my products, rates, and totals. So again, easy access to records and what's been done. Additionally, you can see there's three buttons lower than that around notes, reports, recommendations. Notes can be selected to see and make notes. Internal means that nobody else will see these except for yourself. And so as I type in a note and save, that is now added to my log, and again, specific to me for this one field. External notes, that does tie into your agronomist. And so I have the option to add additional notes here. And as I save that, that will now also be visible to anybody else connected to the system and has access to this field. Additionally, reports, this is a way I can just think of it as a filter down to just my scouting reports for this field. I can click in and see the content. In this case, we have an in-app report viewer, so it's showing me just the report for this one field, even though it may have been part of an original PDF that had, say, 12, 13 fields in it. And so you can see what that looks like here. Again, the ability to zoom to see that content in larger format. Finally, recommendations tab, be able to see the recommendations in this field. Same concept here, seeing the recommendation, being able to complete if it's not already. And then at the very bottom, you see a crop plan. So if your agronomist is utilizing that functionality within FarmQA, you can see the crop plan for that field for that season and the progress of it if steps have been completed.